Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. It's your boy Jay Taylor, Voices for the Voiceless. And I'm back with another video. Hope everybody having a great weekend. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Peace of blessings. And as the title says, updates on the government shutdown, November 1st. And we are in November officially. Man, my favorite time of the year, October, November, early December, fall weather is the greatest. I like to call it hoodie weather. Come outside with a nice little comfortable hoodie. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you got a nice little scully on. And you should be good. But yeah, man, unfortunately, we still are, I believe, day 31 or 32 into the government shutdown. And it's really unfortunate that the Congress has not come to a resolution to have this matter, this very simple situation under control at this point. And a lot of people, man, I'm telling you, a lot of people are so ill-informed, and it's just crystal clear now who's responsible for this. Now, if it was the Republicans, if it was Donald Trump, I would say it. Y'all know how I feel, and you know how I feel about the Democratic Party. We ain't got to go over that. But this is not no biasness. This is just clear cut. You know, the clean resolution is a nonpartisan spending bill that basically says everything that was going on last year will be going on this year. No changes, no Republican policies, no Democrat policies. Just ensures that the bare minimum, the government is still funding, is still open. And the Democratic Party, besides them approving the Clean Resolution Act, the same Clean Resolution Act when Joe Biden was in office 13 times, they have denied it 14 times, even though they, just recently, even though that has nothing to do with nobody losing their health care. It doesn't have anything to do with nothing that the Republicans want. Actually, the Republicans do not like the spending bill just as much as the Democrats don't like the spending bill. But it's just the bare minimum that they can agree on while they continue to negotiate the other terms of the spending bill. And at this point, we have confirmation that illegal immigrants are what they are. The healthcare for illegal immigrants are what they are fighting for. They're not coming out saying that, but if you break down the provisions to Obamacare that they are making fusses about, those provisions ensure that illegal immigrants get healthcare at the taxpayer's expense. And you have to ask yourself, if you're a logical thinking person, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you just vote to keep the government open while y'all are having these discussions? Now, a few things happen. We already know what's up with that. People want to bring, and it's the thing that really just it's just the most irrational scenarios that they are trying to blame the president for the government shutdown. People are falling for this narrative. Understand, there are three branches of government for a reason. The Congress has just as much decision making power as the president. The Congress has to agree. The Congress is made up of the House and the Senate. They have to agree on the spending bill first, and then they present it to the president so he can sign it into law. This Clean Resolution Act is just a continuation of what's been going on the past 4 years. No changes, everything the same. So Donald Trump doesn't have anything to do with what's going on with the government shutdown. The people SNAP benefits, all of that is up to Congress, man. People that's uh, working the airports, military, all that is by Congress. Whatever they do in the House and Senate. Now, the House of Representatives, they have signed it in the law. We just waiting on the Senate. And every Republican has signed this clean resolution bill to open up the government. Every Republican in Senate, and the House of Representatives, they already voted. The only people that are holding this up are the Democrats in the Senate. And we only and what they have is called a filibuster in the Senate. Now they don't have a filibuster in the House of Representatives. So majority rules automatically in the House of Representatives because there's no filibuster. But in the Senate, they have what you call a filibuster, which means that you have to have a certain amount of votes to pass the Senate. Now, you hear all this talk about, oh, the Republicans, they got the House and Senate and the president. Yeah, we got the majority. But by the filibuster, we have to have 60 votes in the Senate to pass the bill. We only have 53 Republicans. We got 47 Democrats. So we are 7 votes short of that filibuster, which is 60 votes to pass a bill. I don't know what's so hard to understand about that. People keep running with that narrative. And yeah, so, we need 60 votes in the Senate. People really do. I mean, we really need to educate them because we don't need the next generation to be running around here with these talking points. They don't know how they had a basic understanding of how their government operates. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is stuff we learned in grammar school. Like the House, the Senate, the president, they all share executive power. And there's certain laws and things like that. So what the Democrats are trying to say is, even though they trying to say basically like health, they trying to make it seem like healthcare for citizens is at risk to go high and all this. If you got the clean CR, it's basically stipulating that it's going to be the same thing as last year and the year before. You know what I'm saying? We got a clean CR. So we not changing anything. This is just to keep the negotiations while we negotiating, regardless how long that takes. This is to ensure that the government is open and people can get their benefits and they can get paid. We got federal employees that are missing paychecks, as well as people that are not getting their food stamps as it stands right now. So they trying to say all of this and all of that about healthcare. But I just debunked that by saying the Clean Resolution Act is not changing anything. Also, they're trying to imply that Trump can use a emergency contingency fund to pay for people's SNAP benefits. He can, because he did it before and all of this and all of that. All right, make no mistake. There is a fund, I find out, a contingency fund, emergency relief fund, that in the state of an emergency, like a natural disaster, there is about $6 billion available that the president could use to in an emergency situation to fund SNAP benefits, or but that's due to an emergency, like we got a hurricane over there in Jamaica. If Jamaica was a part of the United States and they needed food because it's emergency over there due to the hurricane. The United States could use those emergency funds to provide people with SNAP benefits, emergency SNAP benefits, because uh, it's a state of an emergency. A natural disaster, people ain't got food. We got $6 billion right there for them, right? So they trying to say Trump can use those funds for this particular situation. This ain't no natural disaster. This ain't no emergency. You know what I'm saying? This is just the Democrats are deciding to be defiant because this is the only leverage they feel like they got to fight against Donald Trump at the expense of their constituents not receiving their benefits, not receiving pay, military workers. I mean, you got people that work for ICE. You got people that fighters, people that fly airplanes not getting paid. This is not an emergency, a natural disaster, or anything like that. This is Congress, the Senate, Democrats that have decided that they not gonna sign this clean resolution bill that they have signed numerous of times before, as early as in March of this year. They signed it. They know this, but they get deliberately on television and spin narratives to the public, and people that just don't like Donald Trump, they just run with these narratives and they don't think. Why would the president declare a national disaster in a situation like this? What if we are in hurricane season? Actually, like, he used the $6 billion. This one question, one way to look at it. He used these emergency funds for SNAP benefits for something as simple as this, and then we have a real national disaster in a couple of weeks, a month from now, where people need emergency SNAP benefits, but we didn't use it on this. Now, and another thing is this: it's $6 billion. That sounds like a lot of money, right? But check this out. They said it take the cost of is 42 million people in America on SNAP benefits. The cost to fund everybody that gets SNAP benefits for 1 month, 2 different payments, is $9 billion. So even if Trump uses these SNAP benefits, this contingency fund of 6, that ain't even enough to cover the whole month of November. So what will happen is you'll exhaust those $6 billion, and people will get a check and a little small partial check. So you wouldn't even be able to. Then we're gonna be 2 weeks from now. We're gonna be right back trying to at the drawing board, like, what we gonna do for the month of December and January. We've been moving forward. So that's a waste of $6 billion if we can't keep that going. Because once those funds are gone, they're gone. You remember when those natural disasters hit last year? Those hurricanes in North Carolina, those wildfires in California, and they were telling people they didn't have the money because Joe Biden and them spent all the money on illegal immigrants. If a natural disaster occurred, that's what that $6 billion sitting there for people to get food. Now, also, another aspect of it is this. If Trump just say, all right, well, let me go ahead and just go ahead and send the $6 billion for people to get SNAP benefits. Them ain't the only people that's hurting right now. So if he signed that, he just gonna give people SNAP benefits for 2 weeks. What about the federal workers that's not getting paid? What you gonna do for them? What about the people that work at the airport that fly the airplanes? How you gonna pay them? What about the agents, the military. How you gonna pay them? You mean to tell me you just gonna look out for people that get SNAP benefits for 2 months? I mean for 2 weeks, because it ain't gonna last past November 15th. You're gonna have a little bit like $1 billion left. Then you get everybody else that's on SNAP. You dice that other billion up. Then all that money gone, and then you still ain't got a clean resolution signed. And people like, well, he just gave money. That's retarded, right? You usually gonna look out for one group and not the others. Then another thing is this: well, he just spent 40 billion in Argentina. He just gave all this money to Israel. It ain't about Trump having the money to do anything. It's so many different legalities associated with how you can draw funds and distribute them or allocate them in different ways. You just can't take, like, Trump could be sitting up in the White House in the Oval Office right now with $100 billion on the table. It's certain rules and regulations where he can't take that $100 billion and just put it in a SNAP account. You can't do that. It's certain provisions and laws that Congress has created that would not allow that. You have to go through so much red tape to transfer those funds or find bills from the 1930s and otherwise. And this is what I think that they're doing. I think that the Democrats have created this situation with this government shutdown for a numerous of reasons. And one of the reasons that I think that they created this situation is because they want Trump to slip up and do something stupid or do something where they could trip him up on legally. So they could try to sue him or something like that. Like if he takes some money, move it around and don't secure it legally, then they can have him in court. That's what I think a lot of this is about. When they could just sign the clean resolution, if the Democrats in the Senate really cared, if Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries really cared, they would take, all we need is 5 more people. Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, and 3 other Democrats would just sign that clean resolution. But instead, they playing political leverage games with Donald Trump, somebody who's not even in Congress, that really doesn't have nothing to do with this. This is like, y'all can't put everything on the president of the United States. That's what you got a Congress for. Y'all supposed to come up with an agreement in the form of a bill, whether it be long-term or temporary, presented to the president, and he's supposed to sign it into law if he agrees to the terms. If you go outside of that, there's so many different rules and laws and different ways, legalities that prohibit the president from doing this, what he want to do. And if they just had that no kings protest, if he was truly a king, the government would be wide open and the Democrats wouldn't have nothing to say. Now, a couple more things. Trump said, hey, this is what he said. If it's, hey, I'm telling all the since we got the majority, that filibuster we were talking about earlier, get rid of it. Senate Republicans, get rid of that filibuster. Just majority rule. And they can do it because they have the majority to rule on it. But they have a filibuster for certain. It's weird. The filibuster is you got to have 60 votes. Regardless of who got the majority or not, you got to have 60 votes. Now, I didn't know the Republicans, he calls it the nuclear option. Trump saying, hey, we got a nuclear option. I forgot the dude name. That's the leader of the Republicans in the Senate. Man, use the nuclear option, get rid of the filibuster so we can open up the government. The problem with that is the leader of the Republican Senate doesn't want to do that, because if he does that and the Democrats get back into office, they gonna eliminate it indefinitely, and then whatever little crazy idea that they want to do, majority rule. They put the filibuster in there to have some type of guardrail, so either party can't do whatever they want to do in the Senate. Me on the other line, on the other hand, I don't think the Democratic Party got a chance in hell to be back in office no time soon, and this just really solidified their fate with this whole government shutdown thing. So me, I'm rolling with Trump on that. But see, it ain't Trump call because he ain't in Congress. Only thing he could do is advise the Republicans in Congress, since they had the majority, to get rid of the filibuster. So that way we got majority of the votes. You know what I'm saying? We got 55 to they 45 or whatever it is. So, but they don't want to do that because they feel like, hey, if we do that, we give them leverage when they get back in office to use the same thing, which I think that, man, these Democrats so radical now, they gonna do that anyway. They gonna when they if they by chance get back in office anytime soon, if they have a situation like this, I think they'll get rid of that filibuster. I don't see them not the Republicans too soft. I would have got rid of that filibuster and deal with the consequences later. But hey, man, at the end of the day, I understand. I understand. But two judges, Obama appointed judges, I believe one from Boston and another lady from somewhere else, came out yesterday and basically put an order in for trying to force Trump to use that emergency $6 billion contingency fund. You know, you're going to use an emergency fund and waste it on a situation like this for 2 weeks? So some judges, some Obama appointed judges, like they not even Supreme Court judges, put in an order trying to force Trump to use the contingency fund, emergency funds for people who SNAP benefits. Crazy, right? So Trump, like, he had the most, man, strategic response to that order. And it basically exposed the Democratic Party even further. So basically, when they put that order, that judges, there's two judges put that order in for Trump to do this. Trump put in a response, and his response was basically saying, if you could tell, if the court can tell me a legal way, he was like, I would love to fund the entire government if it was up to me. But if you could, now remember all them legalities I was telling you about earlier, you can't just move money here and there. He said, if you could tell me how I could fund the government myself, it would be my honor to do so. My lawyers are trying to figure that out as well. So if you could put that in writing and send it back, I'll fund the whole government by myself. We don't need these people. But if he was a king, that's what he would have did anyway. Like, forget what the Democrats talking about. If he was a king, if it was that easy to just fund the government without them being involved, he would have did that. And also what he did by that statement is he put the responsibility on that judge, those two judges, to provide the legal ramifications. So if they do come with a lawsuit later, bam, I got it in writing. They told me a federal court told me I could do this, that, and the third to fund the government without the Congress putting over a bill. I could do whatever, but they want to use that. Man, if he used that $6 billion, that's gonna be gone in 2 weeks. But just think about the magnitude of that. $9 billion a month for people receiving SNAP benefits, and a lot of them are illegal immigrants. That's why the Democrats are crashing out at the capacity that they are. But yeah, man, it's your boy Jay Taylor, Voices for the Voiceless. Just wanted to come with them quick little updates. Hope you got something from this video. And man, I'll keep y'all posted when I can. Enjoy the rest of your holiday. Peace of blessings. Have some fun this weekend, man. Don't let this stuff stress you out. And until next time, we love y'all. We should see you soon. Peace and blessings.